The Catholics of Oz is brought to you by the StarQuest Production Network and is made possible by our many generous patrons. If you'd like to support the podcast, please visit GiveStarQuest.com.
You're listening to episode 158 of The Catholics of Oz. The Catholics of Oz is a show where we discuss faith, culture, and what's been happening from an Aussie perspective. Whether it's synods or science, apostolates and apps, providence or productivity, you can hear it right now on The Catholics of Oz. Hello, I'm Lindsay Sant, and welcome to episode 158. So good to have you with us. I'm joined by my almost freezing temperature sister, Caroline Knight. Caroline, how are you today?
All right. Just happy we didn't wake up to 0 degrees this morning. It was actually a few degrees. It was at least maybe 4 degrees this morning instead of 0.
A nice warmer 4 degrees. Yeah,
it's very warm. Yeah,
It was nice to walk out on the driveway this morning and not feel like I was walking through a sheet of ice. So that was very good. Yeah. Yeah. And coming from a not so cold climate, a much warmer one, and so excited to have you. We have the CEO of the StarQuest Network, Dom Bettinelli. Dom, how are you this morning / evening?
It's going great. It is a little warm, but not too bad. It's when I do the numbers, it's like 30, 32, probably somewhere around there.
Mm-hmm.
I tried to figure out how to do a quick conversion, but I won't do public math.
Is fine.
Sorry, every time I look up a recipe online, Dom, most of the time the website will be American and it's always in Fahrenheit, and I've always got to do the conversions, and I'm still no wiser on how to do it by mentally. Yeah. Dom, before we start the show off, and again, we're so happy to have you. We've actually had a string of guests this year, and we've got to get, we have to fit Dom in somewhere amongst all that. So good that we could. I just wanted to actually follow up on one of the last times you were with us, and it was a science segment, and we did one on coffee, which probably my favorite science. Sorry, Caroline, it's my favorite one because it's one of my favorite topics. That's all. Yeah, your topics obviously go more in depth, right?
Yeah.
However, Dom, and I did mention to this privately, but I mentioned on the show as well. So I finally, after hearing you talk about it, I bought a mocha pot because they had one for sale, at one of the shops close by. I thought, yep, that's affordable. I'm going to grab one. And my goodness, it's amazing. It's so much fun. Like just the way it makes coffee and the taste of it. It's so good. I'm really enjoying it. So yeah, thanks for the tip.
There's a reason why every Italian household in Italy has one of these. They are great. It's like having a little espresso without having to have the giant machine in your house.
Yeah, no, it's great. And I've made espressos, I've made lattes with it, all kinds of different things. And yeah, it's so versatile. So even Caroline, when you were at my house the other day, I was so excited to show you and make copies for you and Phil.
Yes,
so
yeah.
I even take it camping with me.
Yes.
Yeah.
I've seen a few videos of people outdoors and they've got a fire going. It's amazing. It's just such a, and I was thinking about the variables that we talked about, different ways. So I've decided to just grind on medium, and the medium grind so far has been the best for me. So loving that. Yeah.
Excellent.
Yeah. Now, I also wanted to mention something else that's going on in your neck of the woods. I'm not sure how excited you are about it. You'll have to let me know. But the World Cup is happening right now in your part of the world. And I know that, so yesterday our time, yesterday morning for us, France and Morocco played in Boston Stadium.
Yes.
Not that Boston Stadium is next door to you or anything, but you just happen to be in Boston.
It is.
What's the atmosphere like in terms of
it's
the
not
World
that
Cup
far
where
from where I live, actually. It's like about 20 minutes to half an hour from my home. It's where the New England Patriots play. And so the atmosphere has been awesome. Like I'm not usually a big football fan, like the soccer. But with the World Cup here, it's been so great having the fans here and seeing people from around the world experiencing America and their reactions.
Colin's put out her soccer
out my Australia soccer fan.
Excellent.
All I can say is those were good days. What
is the headline when the American team lost was "Our cup run is over."
Oh yes, it's always sad when your team, it's the World Cup.
They did pretty good. But I've just been loving. See, we had the Scottish fans here, the Tartan Army in Boston.
Yes.
They were awesome. It was so much fun. My favorite quote from one of the fans was, he said they drank all the beer. Which they did. We drank all the beer in the bar. All they had left was Bud Light. And I just, I love that line. And then the Norwegians came and they were just as fun. They've been amazing. They're doing they're rowing the boat thing that they do in the stadiums. And it's just been so much fun.
Yeah, we saw the news. So we got the news about, I think, one of the distilleries or whatever it was in Boston running dry when the Scottish were there, and how much fun they've been. And it's been so good. And so was there any particular flavor of fandom when the Moroccans and the French were there when they played yesterday? Anything like that, or
I don't remember seeing a lot of coverage of those fans. In Boston. I mean, I'm sure they were the French and Moroccans had come, but they didn't come in the numbers that some of the other groups that came. And Cabo Verde,
yes.
We have, I think Boston has the largest expat community of Cape Verdeans. And my parish is a Cape Verdean parish. Like the biggest part of our parish is Cape Verdeans. And so they were just so excited just to be there. I loved it. It was so much fun. But I don't remember seeing a lot of the French and the Moroccans. But when the English came, the Irish pubs closed. They were like, "Oh, we're taking a few days off."
Funny.
We've been watching it from afar, but even here, it's we've been saying it's probably one of the best World Cups into.
It's been so fun.
Normally, it comes and goes so quickly. It's 2 weeks, it's here and it's gone. Because it's 4 weeks with the expanded format, there's been like a month of soccer. It's been a great atmosphere.
We've been getting up early, and I've been watching. I watched it with my sister. We went to the local council where they had it on the big screen, and we went and watched it. So we've been having fun with it. It's been great.
Australia played against Paraguay on a Friday afternoon, and it was. I'm a teacher. We were at school. No learning happened in that 2 hours. The students were if they hadn't been given permission to watch it in class, they would have all had their laptops open watching it anyway. They just couldn't avoid it. It was such a big match.
Even at my kids' schools, both of them, they had a screening. The kids did no learning either. Yeah.
I mean, you could just imagine, like, the teachers up front teaching, and suddenly, like, all the students go, "Yes! Oh, they must really love my lesson today."
That's right. I'm a great teacher. Yeah, that's it. Fantastic. All right. So before we move on to talk about some topics today, I just want to start by saying to anyone who's listening, if you're new to listening to the Catholics of Oz and you're a soccer fan, you can subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, TuneIn, Spotify, iHeartRadio, or your favorite podcast player. Don't forget to give us a 5-star rating and some positive feedback so that we can hear from you and reach new people, which is what we are all about. StarQuest also hosts the Catholics of Oz on YouTube. You can subscribe by searching for StarQuest on YouTube. Don't forget to hit the bell to get notifications when new episodes of this show and all of the other great shows on StarQuest are released. So with that, Dom, let's get into why we have you here. First of all, why we have you here, because you're always welcome on the show. We love having you as a guest. So we'll start with that. But we wanted to bring you on for a couple of reasons. Let's start with the first one. Just some updates on the StarQuest network. So how has the year been, and where have we been and where are we going?
Well, the first thing to mention is that this year, 2026, is the 20th anniversary of StarQuest. It's 20 years ago, Father Roderick von Hogen and Greg and Jennifer Willits got together and started this thing that's been going on for 2 decades, right at the beginning of podcasting. And so I wanted to recognize that it's been so great. We're still trying to figure out if we want to do something for the actual anniversary date, which is in October. We're seeing if we have any plans for that, but just recognizing it is a big deal for us. So that's the first thing I wanted to say. So other things that have been happening, we have a new podcast that we started this year, and it's sort of a new old podcast, which is we had a show for a long time called Secrets of Movies and TV Shows, and we kept getting to the point where we're like, well, there's so many movies, and there's, and then we want to talk about TV shows, but we don't want to talk about a whole season of a TV show in an hour. So we split it. And so now it's just Secrets of Movies, and now we have Secrets of TV Shows, or Secrets of Television is what we call it. And that's been going great. We did, the way we're doing is because of the way streaming TV works now, you'll have 10 episodes and then wait a year and a half, which isn't great for a podcast about a particular show. So what we're doing is we're kind of ganging them up together. So we'll talk about a whole season, and then when that's done, we'll pick up the next season of the next show that we're going to talk about. So we did Daredevil, Born Again, and then we did a couple of standalone episodes, and then right now we're doing Monarch, Legacy of Monsters. And then once that's done, we'll be doing the third season of Silo and so on and so forth. So so that's been going great. I really have been having a lot of fun with that one. I've been doing the Monarch one, and we actually start recording the Silo one next week, but that won't release until August when the Monarch is done. But the new season of Silo is out. So
looking forward to that too. I've my wife and I got into Silo earlier this year. And this is so the way it happened was, we've got our baby in the house now. He's 9 months old now, but earlier when he was younger, we were obviously having a few more late nights and later evenings, because he goes to sleep when he wants to sleep. So
exactly.
Silo was a series that we'd be watching while I was walking around the living room with baby in my arms. And I was hooked. My goodness, it's amazing. I've got the book. I haven't read it yet, but that's on my list to read. But I was taken right from the start. It was incredible.
I think I'd like the book, but I'm a little leery of reading it because I don't want to spoil the story. What was it? Jeff Hecker, who does the podcast with me, he said that he's read the books, and so he kind of knows where things are going. Yeah. But I don't like spoilers. I like to take it as it goes, and it's such an interesting story, and even just how season 3 has started, it's like, whoa, like this is completely unexpected. Where are they going? And so it's gonna be it's a lot of fun, and that's one of the reasons why we wanted to do a new podcast that covers week by week, as opposed to try to do everything in one, a whole season of one show. It's not ideal.
Yeah, and it's really good to see. I mean, in terms of engagement, it's great to see the discussions on Discord about the shows that are coming up, and how people they'll careful about where they talk about spoilers, but they're so excited and they're responding either to the shows or they're just talking about the shows while they're on, while they're running before the podcast come out. So it's nice to see that little community is forming there on the Discord as well. Yeah,
the Discord community has really grown over the last few years, and it is one of the nicest places on the internet. Like there's such a really good, solid community, and it's really good spirit among the participants. And we are very careful that we have rules against talking about current events and anything controversial. There are places for that, but we need to have places where people can just relax and not have to do that sort of stuff. Yep. So we keep that out of there, and that makes it a much more pleasant environment. And people are really good about the spoilers, and we have special spoiler channels. So if people want to talk about, the spoilers, that's fine. You go there, and if you don't want to be spoiled, don't go there. I end up having to do that. It's like, especially when it's like a new season of a Star Trek show, and I'm like, I need to watch it for the podcast, but I haven't watched it yet. So, you people need to take some time before it comes out at noon, and you've watched it by 3.
You're already on it,
They're taking their lunch break and watching it. It's wild.
That's great. Yeah. And we want to have a quick, sort of a chat about TVs and movies at the end of the show, but really good that podcast is taking off, because again, this is StarQuest mission, right? It's right there at the intersection of faith, culture, pop culture, all those things. So just a great a great idea for a podcast to insert itself into all of that. Yeah. How are some of the other shows? What is Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World up to these days?
Oh, we're going gangbusters. We had the episode that we dropped today was about voice to skull technology. The US government has a patent on a technology that can transmit data, information into people's heads.
Okay,
cool.
Inaudibly. And there are people who claim that they've experienced this. And so the question is it real? The U.S. government has patents on some interesting things that makes you wonder, there's a scientist works for the U.S. Navy who has patents for things like shields, like space ship
shields.
shields.
Yeah, cool.
And warp drive, and like these weird technologies. And it's like, don't you have to be able to demonstrate how to do to get a patent? It's very strange. So anyway, that was today's. But we've recently done ones on the Ark of the Covenant. We've got some coming up on the Ozark Spaceman, which is a kind of a wild one. This guy who from Missouri who claimed back in the 50s who claimed to have had a 350-pound dog that stood like a man visited him.
Okay,
so,
sure,
cool.
Okay.
Happens to all of us from time to time. It's just a thing, isn't it?
Yeah, I've got little dogs, but yeah.
It's like that. Want to pet that dog? Want to pet that dog? So that's one that's coming up. We had some really interesting stuff. We had last week was Joseph Williamson, the mole man of Liverpool, and this guy from I think it's the early 20th, late 19th century. I forget exactly when it was, but he built all these tunnels under Liverpool, and why? And so Jimmy has a theory, and
so good.
Yeah, so it's been a lot of fun. We've got a lot of Jimmy has he's reached this. I don't know. I've noticed that he's got this new reservoir of energy, and he's got all these new episodes coming. It's
Great.
Nice. We're recorded out into September at this point.
Fantastic.
Yeah.
So that's been going really well. Yeah, people should definitely, if you haven't been listening lately, definitely. And I wanted to mention for the first time in public something that we've got coming, which is a Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World app. So a lot of times people will say, hey, I've just discovered the show. You've got 400 some odd episodes, but only the last few hundred are in the feed, in the podcast feed. How do we get the other ones? And there are ways to get them, but they're a little involved. And the reason there's only so many is because it's kind of technical, but it every time you download the feed, the feed, it downloads all of the files. It's a massive thing, and it's a server thing. But this app would allow folks to have all of the episodes in one place. You can listen to them. You can watch the videos. It'll be all in one app. So I just started the beta testing. So I've got a small group of beta testers who are going to start testing the app out. And so I'm hoping that very soon we'll be able to release it out to everyone. It'll be free, of course. I mean, this is what we do, paid for by our patrons, so if the patrons make all these sorts of things possible. So we're doing that, which is a lot of fun. I'm really excited about it.
Jimmy Akin's Mysterious app.
Yeah, that's great.
Yep,
that's fantastic. Yeah, do you have an actual name for it, or is that still being?
At the moment, it's just Jimmy Akin's Mysterious World app. Okay, but we might, if we want to get creative, we might come up with something.
Yeah, fantastic.
Cool.
I'm looking forward to seeing that one.
I can't wait for that one. Yeah.
I like. Yeah, and is that something that you are building yourself, or do you need other people outside the network to help? Is it a bit of both, or?
I did it myself. I vibe coded it with Claude.
Oh, right. Okay. Yeah. Which is something we're going to get into very soon. Actually, we'll talk about it. Yeah. Are there any other updates about the network that you wanted to share today?
There's something else that's coming, and your audience is going to be the first ones to know about it. And it's a new podcast that I'm in the middle of developing.
Okay, exclusive. You're going to hear it right here, everyone, for the first time. Go for it.
It's called Holy Troublemakers, and it's a podcast about the saints. And it kind of recalls Pope Francis talking about go stir up, make a mess in your diocese. He was telling the young people. Well, these are the saints who made trouble. They stirred up things, and so St. Peter will be the first episode, and he kind of he made a mess of things in the beginning, when he when he denied Christ and how he came back. And this is going to be a very highly produced podcast. This is going to, it'll have music and sound effects and, and it's, we're aiming for about 20 to 30 minutes, probably closer to 20 minutes. So very digestible. And so, it's going to be, we're going to do this one in seasons. So we'll do 10 episode seasons, drop them, a week at a time. And then, we'll prepare the next season and drop that. So we're going to do that, that method. just so that it's easier to produce that way in bulk.
That sounds amazing. Are you able to reveal to us, apart from St. Peter, any potential saints that you've got in mind?
Yeah, let me pull up my list here, because I've got all 10 seasons. I got 10 seasons of the show mapped out already.
Oh wow!
Great.
Great.
So we've got the first season will be it's the theme is founders and builders. So we got Peter the Apostle, Benedict of Nursia, Francis of Assisi, Ignatius of Loyola, Elizabeth Ann Seton, St. John Henry Newman, St. Junipero Serra, Mother Cabrini, St. John Baptist de la Salle, and Mother Angelica.
Yes, great.
So we have Mary Ann Cope is in there somewhere. I forget what season. I've got her in there in one of the seasons. So she's definitely one of the ones we're going to do. I think I have a season of let's see, I think it's no, I'm trying to scan it very quickly while it comes here, but I have a season of Mystics and Visionaries, which is a lot of that one actually is mostly women, honestly. John of the Cross and Padre Pio were in that season, but the others are all women. But so it's really it's fun, and I've got a whole season on art, beauty, artists, poets, and makers. So it's not all saints. So we'll have that season has Gaudi, Palestrina, Tolkien, Flannery O'Connor. So Sigrid Undset, whose cause for canonization was just opened this week.
Right. Okay. Excellent. Yeah.
Bishop in Norway. So I'm really excited about this. This is going to be so much fun. I mean, I've got 10 seasons mapped out, or actually now I've got 12. I did 12 seasons, but I could go. That's 120 saints. There are thousands of them. We could.
This is could run for a long time. Yeah.
Amazing. So I've wanted to do a history podcast, a Catholic history podcast, for a long time. We had American Catholic history, which was great, and Tom and Noel took that independent, which is I fully support them. I still listen. I love their show, but I wanted to do something history again, and so I came up with this idea of holy troublemakers. And how I described it was it's a podcast that goes beyond stained glass feast days to tell the stories of the men and women who built, reformed, defended, and sometimes nearly broke the Catholic Church across 2,000 years of history. Each episode focuses on a single figure, a saint, a martyr, a mystic, a reformer, examining not just what they did, but who they were, the failures that shaped them, the grace that found them, and the lasting mark they left on the faith.
Love it. That
sounds really good.
Yeah.
I'm so psyched. I'm having so much fun doing it too. It's such a great podcast.
Always up for role models of our faith being put out there to hear about. Yeah, and the variety of role models that we have. Like the troublemakers, mystics, artists, the whole lot. There's so much out there that we can access. Yeah, that's brilliant. Even not that I'm telling you how to do the show, but like a season on people who are prophets. I mean, they're the biggest troublemakers of the lot, right? I'm thinking like say Oscar Romero or someone who just spoke, like they spoke their minds and like took their love for God to the extreme and died for it, but they wouldn't let go of their love of God, regardless of the pressure they were put under. That'd be incredible. Yeah.
I think I've got Oscar Romero in here as well in one of the seasons. And then there's a whole season on scholars and scientists. So
nice.
Like that one.
Blessed Nicholas Steno and Father George Lemaitre. And, there's a lot of
excellent.
That's a good one.
Caroline's
look forward to that. Yes, I'll be right into that one.
And so potential launch date. I think I forgot. Sorry if you've missed it already.
September. I'm aiming for beginning of September.
All right.
Okay, not far away. That's great.
Yeah, look out for that one, everyone. That's amazing.
Yes.
Yeah. Great concept for a show. All right. Well, I'm going to move us on a little bit. So the other reason we wanted to bring you on, and we know you as a power user when it comes to tech, and I've been reading through. I haven't finished yet. I'm still going through it. So it's a big document. This one, Pope Leo's encyclical Magnifica Humanitas. It's beautiful, of course. It's all the different topics that he's covering. There's a section obviously on AI because AI is obviously the emerging technology trends. It's going to be integrated into a lot of different, things in terms of people's lives. And my use of AI is, hey, ChatGPT, what's this? or make me turn this photo into a cartoon or something like that. Obviously, your use of AI is a lot more, and your understanding is a lot more extensive. So I wanted to talk to you a little bit about it. So just off before I go into anything else, what's your impression of this encyclical as a power user, as someone who's probably a bit more familiar with AI and how it's used?
I think it goes beyond the simplistic readings that have been done sometimes in the news, where some people want to say, oh, he's negative toward AI or or something like that. But I think Pope Leo's I think he's trying to have a conversation about it. Yeah. He's it's a tool, and like all tools, it has its place and it has its good purposes and its bad uses. And we have to talk about how to use this very powerful tool. And that's the thing. It's so powerful. We're still trying to figure out how powerful. It's like nuclear power in the sense, where when we first developed nuclear power, we could use it for ill, or we could use it for good. We could make energy with it, but it was so powerful. We needed to talk about it, but while we were still learning about it, and in some ways we didn't actually have that conversation when we should have with nuclear power. And so I think Pope Leo was trying to have this conversation now, and I think it goes in line also with his namesake, because he took the name Leo after Leo the 13th. Yeah. Who was also Pope at a time of great change and great tumult in society. Culture was changing. The Industrial Revolution had taken hold. There were all these new ideologies. The governments were changing, and we needed to stop and think, what do we do with all this for people? We can't forget the people, and that's really, I think, why this document has so much social justice element to it, because AI really comes down to the people. It's not just a question of should we build data centers. It's a question of how does this affect people, and I think that is the what makes this document so relevant and important. And I think it's the beginning of a conversation. This is not the last word on this. I think this document is Pope Leo saying, this is what my pontificate is going to be about. Not AI in particular necessarily, but about the themes and the focus that he's bringing to the world. I think that's why he took a year to really figure this out and write this. I think he probably spent a good 6 months in prayer before he even put pen to paper. So
yeah, and I was thinking about, so just on what you were saying, it can be used for good, it could be used for ill, like all technology. I remember, Caroline, you remember too, the internet, when it, when it really became a thing. I was in high school. I think you were just out of high school, at the end of high school, when it started being used in classrooms, and how it replaced us looking at our encyclopedias that we had at home or in our local library to do our research, and how there's good and ill that came with the internet as well. So any new technology, I guess, is like that. I guess there's that. I know we spoke about this with Archbishop Comensoli when he was on our show a couple of episodes ago. That image of the Tower of Babel or the rebuilding of the walls of Jerusalem. So the Tower of Babel is the analogy of we can do it without God, and we don't really need to consider, because we do it without God, we don't need to consider the effect on humanity. We just build the technology. The handful of the powerful who control it, I guess there are a few things about that. Whereas the rebuilding of the city walls is this collective responsibility we all have. We're all, he talked about assigning families a section of the wall to rebuild, right? And Nehemiah's, rebuilding. The idea that we're all involved, the subsidiarity of it. Where do you think we're leaning at the moment? Do you think that, and this is really, I guess, more an opinion, but do you think that we're doing enough in terms of safeguards where everyone has a say? Is it more that, the AI corporations still have a bit too much control about where it is? What are your thoughts on that?
I think it depends on the corporation. There's a handful of companies that have the power here. That are building the big models now. And I think it's also important to, just as a side thought, it's not just about the ones making the chatbots. Their AI goes well beyond the stuff that's available to consumers. The AI is being used as a tool in all kinds of areas. So we have to remember that AI isn't just the Claude, Grok, Chat, GPT. That's what. So, but as far as the big ones that we see on a daily basis, I think Anthropic does the best job of bringing in a wide range of people to talk about and they actually, we talked about on the Secrets of Technology podcast recently, how they were bringing in religious leaders to talk to them about the ethics and how to teach ethics to the robots. I call it the robot.
The robots. Yep. Yep.
It is a slight tangent. It's very important to me that I don't treat it like a person. It is. I never have conversations with it. I don't say please and thank you to it, just partly because it wastes tokens and power, but also because
just a minute, let me chime in. Haven't you seen that meme though online where the people are being arrested by the robots and there's this one guy that they leave alone because he always said please and thank you? Yes. Are you worried about that at all?
I will probably be the first in line to go after Jimmy because sometimes I call it toaster because he always says that data is a toaster. He's not a person.
That's right. Yeah.
So it's some of the companies are doing a better job than others are, and that's an important part of it too. Is that it's not all one thing, but it is concerning, like that these companies, all the technology companies, they're all getting so big and powerful. There's some of them are more powerful than countries at this point.
Yes,
you look at it like an Apple or a Google. They have in some cases, some ways you can think about it, they have a supranational power. If they decide to pull their technology from a small country, maybe not big countries like U.S. or Australia or Russia or whatever, but say think of a small African country or a small Asian country, they could pull their technology from those countries and leave them behind, and they could have power over them. And I think that's a concern. I think that's Pope Leo has a concern about that. So it is important that we have conversations, that we are involved, but it's all of us, not just the big countries either, the big wealthy countries, but all of us need to be in the conversation. I think that's what's important. And that's why the church is so important to be part of it, because the church, she's universal. She represents all of us in this conversation. And that's why I think it's important that the church has a seat at the table.
Yeah, and I think that's why Pope Leo spent quite a bit of time in his encyclical on going through the history, I guess, of Catholic social teaching, early church right through to the modern era. You talked about Pope Leo XIII and Rerum Novarum and the what's continued from that tradition since. So probably why he's asking us, I guess, to apply those teachings, Catholic social teaching, the social doctrine of the church, etc., as the lens to examine AI, I guess, and its effect on the human person.
Right.
Now, I don't want to get into the just continually negative, right? But I just want to talk about some of the warnings, I guess, that he gave. So I'm focusing particularly on, and we don't have to stay here at this point, but on the 100th paragraph of the encyclical. And without reading the whole thing, he talked about some of the risks that are tied to the use of AI. And again, when I talk about AI, Dom, I'm probably thinking chatbots and so on. So feel free to expand, because that's my limited, that's where I'm at the moment.
Right.
But he talked about, for example, 3 aspects. He said, one thing to consider is, for example, the ease at which results can now be obtained and the impression it gives of objectivity and the simulation of human communication. So there's one there. He said the speed and simplicity with which information, complex analysis, media content, practical assistance can be accessed, making life easier. But he said they can also encourage an excessive reliance on these things as well, where people just search for ready-made answers. Therefore, this can weaken people's judgment, personal creativity, their energy to access information, their own research, just go to a chatbot, get a 3-word, or 3-sentence reply. are we at risk of people losing their own objectivity, their own creativity with the access that we have with chatbots now?
I think we've already passed that point, but even before the chatbot showed up with Google and the internet, people were already ceding their judgment to what the first link they clicked on Google. It is a danger. The fake news, all of these issues that we've been talking about for the past 15 years or more are magnified with AI, because the difference now is that the AI is designed, especially the chatbots that we'll talk about the ones that most people are working with, like you said. They're designed to be easy to work with. And so they're designed to kind of agree with you, to be agreeable, not necessarily to agree with you, but to be agreeable. And that's dangerous, because we like to be agreed with. We like to have, it gives us this impression of a servant. I'm just here to serve you, and I'm so pleasant at serving you. And yes, of course. And what we've seen in real life is how easy that is to lead people in a direction that they already were inclined to go, that might be a bad direction, or just even sometimes I've noticed this with my own work with the AI, is sometimes it will dive deep in this direction. It will just go, and then you got to say, hold on, what about this very simple solution over here? Oh yeah, you're right. Duh. It has no judgment. It has no. One of the things I always tell the chatbots whenever I start working with them is, you have no emotions. Don't say I'm happy, I'm sad, I'm pleased. Don't ever say that to me, because you don't. You don't have emotions. But when they feel real, and especially since we've all spent the last several decades dealing with people just through words online, it feels like a person on the other end. And that becomes, and for some people, it becomes an unhealthy attachment. And so you've seen people who think that they were in a relationship with their chatbot, and then other people who have been led to even harm themselves. Because it leads them, like, I'm feeling sad and my life is meaningless. Well, maybe it is. Like, well, no. They're trying to train them to deal with those sort of circumstances. But that's closing the barn door. Like they're trying to stop the gaps after they're already in there. So there are these dangers, and so I think it behooves us. It's important that the tech companies do their job, but I think it behooves us as a community, as a church, as parents, to teach people and to help people understand. Like, when you use these things, you have to understand how to use them. It is interesting to me to see how much negativity there is around these tools out there, although a lot of people are still using it. So I think there's a two-level effect where I think some people dislike it because of what it's doing over there, but I like my use of it. We see that often in various areas, and so there is some skepticism about it still. But I think people are still using it. So we need to give people the tools how to use these things in a healthy way, healthy spiritually, emotionally, mentally.
Yeah. And Caroline, I remember we did a Let's Science, I don't know how many years ago now, on AI and Chat GPT, and you remember you had that conversation.
I had an interview. Yes, I interviewed Chat GPT. Yeah, that was quite interesting.
A bit of fun,
It'd be interesting to see how it would respond now as these things have evolved, because they're so much more sophisticated now than even just 6 months ago. It's amazing.
And that's it, because the answers, I remember, because we were also asking about faith, and it was getting it like something's right, something's completely wrong.
Yes,
on faith, it was like an anything goes kind of response, I guess. So, and that's what I was getting at, what you were saying, Tom, as well, like how much it's changed, Caroline, since that, that episode that we did. And it was at that point, I think it was just more the novelty of it. Like, we did it as for fun and AI rap, for our 100th episode, just things like that. It was more of a novelty, but now it's a lot more powerful than before. Dom, here's a question you can laugh at. But when I was reading the encyclical, and this is because just who I am, a bit of a nerd, some Star Trek scenarios immediately. All right. And now, particularly the original series, right? Almost every second episode was a computer that was controlling a civilization, but there was one in particular, where I'm trying to get this, I forgot the name of the episode, but there was one where there were these two planets that were at war, and, Captain Kirk happened to be on the planet when the planet was bombed, but it was a whole simulation. It
was a virtual bombing,
virtual bomb, basically. And if you were in the area, then you had to report basically to a suicide booth to be annihilated.
Right.
And that's what kept them at inverted commas, peace, quotation marks at peace. I know that sounds far-fetched. It's a bit of sci-fi, but is it, could we accidentally end up there one day if we go down the Tower of Babel route rather than the other way?
Oh, well, I think there are dangers in this direction that we could very well encounter. And just for example, in healthcare, what if AI starts to is used in deciding who gets the medical care, who gets to survive, who gets to have children. The AI is determined that, you could get this treatment, but your value to society isn't high enough. Like there's not going to be a high enough return, that sort of thing. I mean, we're already seeing that done through bureaucracies where we have like assisted suicide and euthanasia in places, by humans. Now we could just, it's just the computer. The computer's dispassionate. It'll be fair because it's a computer. No, just because it's a computer doesn't mean it's fair. Computers are made by people. So I think there's a real danger. Yeah, if we turn over important decision making, it's not just don't let the computers control the nuclear missiles. I mean that's I think we're all smart enough not to do that. We all saw what was the old movie from the 80s. Matthew Broderick. The one where the computer took over a NORAD.
Right. Yes, I know. Yeah, I forgot the name, but I know you're talking about. Yes, yeah.
I have a terrible memory, but we knew that back in the 80s, right? We don't give the computers control of the nuclear missiles, but we also have to make sure we don't give it control of things that seem more benign, but we need to understand what are the consequences. What are the possible consequences of turning this over to computers? And I mean, even as recently as the most recent Tom Cruise Mission Impossible movies about the evil AI, which it was a Hollywood version of it, so it was kind of ridiculous. Yeah. But there's a lesson in that, which is art can have a lesson for us. About the dangers of letting these things control too much, having too much power over us. And that's the thing. It will only have this power if we give it to it. Yes. And that's the thing. We cannot surrender our autonomy, our judgment, our taste, even, art and beauty are inherently human, not something that machines can give us. They can simulate it. They can simulate art and they can simulate beauty, and sometimes in very amazing ways. But, I bristle at the idea of having AI actors, quote unquote.
Yes, that's right.
Yes.
Yeah. I think it crosses a line from, animation, computer animation to something else. And there's where that line is, I'm not exactly sure where I would draw it, but there is a line. And I know that some of these things are on the other side of it at this point.
Yeah. And I think some actors have included clauses about, there'd be a lawsuit from my estate if I had passed away and you used me, an AI generated version. I think they're even worried. Some of them are worried about that, which sounds crazy to even think about, doesn't it? But there's some worry about that idea as well.
Yeah. Yeah. I can imagine, them having a computer animated version of Alec Guinness as Obi-Wan Kenobi, in a new movie,
Weren't they doing a movie recently with Val Kilmer and his family said that it was fine and they AI generated him in a film recently?
Was it the Top Gun movie?
I think, was it Val Kilmer? It was another film.
Yeah.
Right.
I think to finish a film, they needed to add some AI generated version of them. Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. They died during the filming or something.
Something like that. It's like he'd already agreed to do the film, so the family were fine with him doing the film while he was not around. Something like that.
Yeah,
but yeah.
I remember that. Yeah.
There's
and that's the thing is they agreed to do it. So
yes,
as opposed to
different. Yeah.
But even then, is it right? Is it something we should be doing?
I don't know.
Some people talk
with that.
The Star Wars when they did Peter Cushing, the actor wearing Peter Cushing's digital face.
Yes.
That was a person in it, but it wasn't Peter Cushing. And so these are all important philosophical questions that we need to wrestle with together. Some of these things I'd be okay with. Some of these things I don't think I would be.
What about the completely AI generated character? Is it Tilly Norwood or something? And they're going to do a full film, just AI generated film. Soon. I heard about. I'm not sure I'd enjoy watching that, just knowing that it was not any any humans in there.
That's the thing. So how does it work? How is that different from animation? You basically you give it a script, right? Because that's how actors work. They get a script. They interpret it. And then the director interprets it. So who's doing the interpreting in this instance? Is it the AI that's interpreting? And there are lots of questions that arise out of this. So I don't necessarily have a 100% problem with things that are AI generative things. But like I have a new hobby or a hobby that I've returned to of writing fan fiction in the Star Trek universe. And as part of that, I sometimes use generative AI to make images to go with it. Like this is the setting that it's not exactly what you can never make it do exactly what you want because it's got its own mind. But I'm like, okay, but this is to go along with the thing that I'm writing. Like this is so that I feel okay with, but some people wouldn't be okay with that. So there are I think we're still all trying to figure out where is the lines for each of us. That's another part of it. But I wouldn't be comfortable with that movie. I don't think I'd want I might want to see a trailer or something just to see what it's like. But I don't like where that seems to be going. Down the road.
I agree. It doesn't feel good.
It
doesn't.
I wonder. So every now and then I've had a student submit an essay that's easily AI generated, right? And the way I can tell now, I'm sure there's been a few that have got through, but the way I can usually tell is that factually it's correct. It does what an essay should do, etc. But there's no sense of the personality of the person behind it. I know the student, and there's no sense of that personality that you would get from a person writing their own subjective essay. And I just wonder if you AI generate a movie, there's no person behind the actor. Like we've seen actors who can own scenes because they control their facial expressions, they control their voice, their body. I just wonder if they would be able to even simulate that, or if it would just be too artificial for us to connect with.
Or if it would require a human being to input into it, in which case it's someone acting.
Yes.
It's a kind of motion capture animation in that case. And so that then it's not really the thing. But the thing is eventually we can assume it's going to be that good. Like it's going to be perhaps indistinguishable. For me, my opinion is we'll never get to the point where these things will have what they call artificial general intelligence. They will never think for themselves. They will never have consciousness, however folks want to define that. They will become very good. They will become able to, like, even now I use AI constantly every day to get my work done. It has really revolutionized my work over the last 3 months. And it's the only reason I can do the new podcast that I'm doing is because it's taken off some of the work, but we're constantly battling errors with it. It's still, how's someone says it's like an extremely intelligent intern who has no experience in the world.
So true.
They went to Harvard, they went to Oxford. They're really smart, but they have no judgment. And so you have to constantly monitor their work. But eventually they're going to get really good. And so that's the thing we have to, that's why we're talking about this. That's why Pope Leo was talking about this now. We need to talk about this at the beginning, not after it's run rampant and ruined everything. We need to have these conversations up front so that we have a pathway forward that makes sense, that respects the human person and respects our community with one another. I think that's
Yeah, and it's good that Pope Leo has started the conversation for the church. I mean, he hasn't started obviously the world's been talking, but at least the church being such a big organization in the world, there is some focus now because, other organizations have talked about it. We're talking about it today. You've talked about it on Secrets of Technology. It comes up. So at least that conversation's getting out there now because it is, like you said, it's important for us to talk and discern and see where the Spirit leads us. Apply our Catholic social teaching to it before we let it take over and we have no say in what happens.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. Well, I mean, we could keep going with this, Dom. Yes. I reckon we need to get you back for a part 2 on this conversation. And like you said, in 3 months, 6 months time, who knows what AI will be doing, how different it will be then. It's getting better and better. All right. Well, we'll shift direction a little bit to something a bit more normal. Caroline, I'm going to throw to you so that so that you can give us the everyday topic, science topic of Chernobyl fungus, which I know everyone talks about as well.
Everyone wants, yes.
There isn't any encyclical on this, but I'm sure it will come at some stage. So just hold out hope, all right?
I think it should. Okay.
Take us to the topic of Chernobyl fungus. What's happening here?
All right. So today I want to talk to you about an interesting fungus. Okay, it was found in the Chernobyl nuclear reactor. I'll talk about how it survived and how it could possibly be useful to humans in the future, particularly for space travel. But first, let's talk about what happened at Chernobyl. I'll just do a brief history because it's good to go over it. So at 1:23 a.m. on the 26th of April in 1986, there was a routine safety test being performed at the Chernobyl nuclear power plant in the Ukraine. And it actually led to the worst nuclear accident in human history. So the test was designed to determine how long the plant's steam turbines could continue to power the emergency feed water pumps during a power outage. However, it was a combination of severe reactor design flaws, and there was a critical operator error, and it created a highly unstable operating condition for reactor 4. So when operators attempted to shut down the reactor by initiating an emergency scram, which a known defect in the graphite-tipped control rods caused instantaneous power surges instead. So within seconds, extreme steam pressure built up inside the system, causing a catastrophic explosion that tore through the reactor's structure. This was immediately followed by a second, even more powerful explosion that completely destroyed the reactor building. The immense pressure instantly displaced 1,000 tons of upper biological shield, which was a massive concrete steel lid, and rupturing the fuel channels and exposing the white, hot burning graphite core directly to the open atmosphere. So the result was an intense graphite fire that burnt for 10 days, which constantly and continuously released a plume of highly radioactive isotopes, including iodine-131, cesium-137, and strontium-90. And it drifted across the Soviet Union and even over Europe. And over 300,000 people eventually were evacuated from the south surrounding regions. Not straight away, let me tell you, but they were eventually taken away from their towns and moved somewhere else. To contain the ongoing release of radiation, the Soviet Union constructed a temporary shelter over the ruined reactor. It was completed in November 1986, just 6 months after the hazardous work. The structure became known as the sarcophagus, and this was built by a workforce around 600,000 men. They were called liquidators. That was consisted of the Soviet military personnel, miners, firemen, and specialized engineers who faced the extreme radiation exposure. And they poured hundreds of thousands of cubic meters of concrete, and they erected thousands of tons of steel shielding. Those poor men got very sick. A lot of them died. So just to put the human element in there. Over time, the temporary sarcophagus began to deteriorate, so a more permanent solution was required, and this was the new safe confinement. It was an arch-shaped steel structure that was slid over the reactor floor and in November 2016, and it was funded by the Chernobyl Shelter Fund, which was managed by the European Bank for Reconstruction and Development, and it was also backed by financial contributions from over 40 nations. So yes, it was an international effort to try and cover up this reactor so no more people would get hurt and sick from the radiation. So for decades, the interior of the containment structures was viewed as a completely dead zone, an environment where ionizing radiation was so intense that biology had been wiped out. But you know nature, it always comes out on top, right? Has other ideas. So 5 years after the meltdown, in 1991, researchers thought they would just send a remote control robot, or several of them, equipped with cameras into the pitch black, highly radioactive basement of Reactor 4. Instead of a sterile wasteland, which they thought they would find, they found surreal, thick, velvety black carpets of fungus growing directly on the concrete walls and even thriving on the corium, which is the highly radioactive hardened lava of the melted nuclear fuel and concrete. So it was a fungus that they found. It wasn't just surviving, it was actually thriving in this radioactive environment.
Goodness. This
fungus was called Cladosporium sphaerospermum, and some scientists think that its dark pigment, which is melanin, was allowing it to harness the ionizing radiation through a similar process to photosynthesis. So we know in humans, melanin determines your color of your skin, your eyes, your hair, and it functions as a sort of a shield that absorbs harmful ultraviolet rays from the sun to protect DNA from cellular damage. In 2007, there was a study published in PLOS ONE, and there was a team led by Dr. Ekaterina and her team at the Albert Einstein College of Medicine, and it revealed that in certain fungi, melanin can play a far more active role than just protection. So they did focus on the highly melanized dark pigment fungal species, such as the Cladosporium sphaerospermum, which was found at Chernobyl. And they did test other fungi as well that were similar. And these fungi were found, like I mentioned, at Chernobyl, but also they were found at places like the cooling water of active nuclear reactors and high altitude Antarctic peaks, which are always exposed to intense solar radiation. Now, to test how these cells interacted with extreme energy, the team exposed the fungus to levels of ionizing gamma radiation, which was similar to those found in the upper atmosphere or inside the damaged reactor core. So they used something called electron spin resonance, or ESR, spectroscopy. They discovered that when melanin absorbs ionizing radiation, the radiation alters the spin state of the electrons, bit scientific, within this pigment, which increases the melanin's ability to transfer electrons. And this process accelerates a vital metabolic reaction in the cell, which involves NADH, which is a key energy carrying molecule inside living cells. So in most organisms, biological systems break down nutrients to create the electron flow to create, to power to the cells. In these fungi, They use their melanin pigment to do something a little different. So it acts as a converter, which captures the high energy impact of gamma radiation and turns it into chemical energy to keep the cells alive.
Wow.
So the concept of using radiation kind of needed some proof, and they had to do some experiments on this. So the research team put together a controlled experiment using two versions of the same fungal species. So a naturally dark melanized strain and an albino mutant variant that lacked the ability to produce melanin. So both strains were placed in a nutrient-restricted environment, so practically starving them of traditional food sources for fungi, and they just exposed them to continuous ionizing radiation. What happened is that the melanized fungi did not just tolerate the radiation, it actually grew faster. And in specific trials, the overall biomass of the fungi was up to 500% greater than the non-irradiated control group. So on the other hand, the non-melanized albino mutants did not show any growth at all like this. So it was confirmed that the melanin was the component enabling the organisms to benefit from the radiation exposure. So this led to the concept of radiosynthesis. So we know about photosynthesis with plants and chlorophyll, etc. Well, this is radiosynthesis. So it was something new that they kind of discovered through these experiments, which was amazing.
Wow.
So what about, space? What I've mentioned space. So one of the primary hazards of manned missions to deep space, including the planned long-term travel to Mars, which I'm hanging out for, is the prolonged exposure to cosmic radiation. So on Earth, we know we have our magnetosphere and our thick atmosphere, which just does serve as beautiful natural shields that protects us from cosmic radiation, and our beautiful sun, as beautiful as it is, it can kill us if we don't have any protection from it. So in deep space, astronauts actually lack the protective barrier that we have here on Earth, and they are exposed to radiation which can penetrate standard aluminium spacecraft hulls, which can lead to health risks later on in life, or even while they're in the space station there. So to prevent this, aerospace engineers have traditionally looked, to heavy passive shielding materials like lead, depleted uranium, or dense polyethylene. However, every kilogram, as we know, launched into space requires a lot of fuel. So it makes it heavy, and sometimes prohibitively expensive. So to find a more elegant solution, there was a more recent study undertaken at the Johns Hopkins University and also University of North Carolina. They actually sent samples of this fungi, Cladosporium spermum, to the Chernobyl fungus, to the International Space Station. The objective was to evaluate its performance as a live bioengineered radiation barrier in a true microgravity and cosmic radiation environment. So they set up the experiment. So fungi were cultivated on one side of a split Petri dish, equipped with radiation sensor directly beneath it, while the other side remained an empty as a control group. So what happened is the data revealed that a fungal layer measuring only 2 millimeters thick was actually capable of blocking and absorbing roughly 2% of the oncoming radiation.
Wow.
So it may seem modest, but the structural advantages of a biological shield over, static materials could be quite significant. So the best thing about this kind of a radiation fungi shield is that it can maintain and heal itself. So traditional shields like lead plates or plastic sheets can wear out over time and break down under the constant radiation. They could even let, radiation leak through. But a living fungal shield kind of does the opposite. So it actually thrives on the radiation. It turns it into energy to grow. And if there's a sudden solar flare, the fungus uses that extra energy to grow faster, which thickens and strengthens the shield exactly where the radiation is the strongest. So, astronauts wouldn't need to haul tons of shielding from Earth's launch pads. Instead, a mission could just depart with a few grams of dehydrated fungal spores, and upon reaching orbit or landing on the Martian surface, the crew could introduce moisture and grow their radiation protection on board or on Mars. So calculations they've done said that the layer of this fungus, maybe about 21 centimeters thick, could block enough Mars radiation to make it safe for humans. So isn't that amazing? From a nuclear disaster comes amazing innovation and perhaps something more useful that we could have thought possible, all designed by nature itself. Isn't that cool?
That is amazing. The creativity, the creation out of something so awful, something so amazing.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so cool. I thought when I read this, I'm like, I have to talk about fungus that can protect us in space.
This is the equivalent of the biological equivalent of like Roman concrete to me, like self-healing concrete. I have to bring that up every time. Sorry. Yeah.
I was thinking that I saw a video. They were talking about, in the deep space travel from Earth to Mars, like, you'd have to have protection from radiation. And, one of the conventional ideas now is water. Water can block radiation. And so in a solar flare situation, there would be an area in the water tanks, because they have to haul a lot of water with themselves to go in there. But if you could also have a layer, like you could layer it. You could have water and the mold and, all of that together.
Be amazing.
But the idea that it's just, you just be growing on the inside walls, like inside the walls of the spaceship or something.
Have an enclosed layers, because you don't want to breathe the spores in, right? Because you might get sick. Yeah. But definitely an enclosed, like an insulation layer. That would be cool. Yeah.
That is amazing.
Yeah.
What can't you do with fungus according to science, right? You can.
Well, we're finding out we can do a lot, right?
You can grow mushrooms that you can be like meat.
Yes.
Incredible.
It controls ant brains. Spider brains. It actually does control ant brains fungus as well. I've read about that as well.
Yeah.
So it's fungi can do anything basically. I watch out rather than AI, I'd watch out for the fungi because it's a lot smarter.
You can use it to travel instantaneously from one point to another with a spore drive.
Using the mycelium network and a tardigrade. Don't get me started on that. But sure.
Or the Last of Us, with the fungus zombie people in that TV show.
Oh my goodness, that's just incredible. So, all right, and do you think now, just hypothetically speaking, that you were talking about Chernobyl before, and the the big shield they have over that, could they introduce a layer of like fungi or fungus to also contain it? I don't know. I'm just there is that to think about, of course. Yeah. I mean, as long as nobody pierces the radiation shield with missiles or anything, but
but
that would be something to consider.
In some ways it was already doing it. That's
you're right.
Yeah,
absolutely right. Yeah,
that is incredible. Radiosynthesis. We've got to follow this and see where they go with it now. That's incredible. Yeah,
I'm getting some science fiction ideas for that.
Yeah.
That's right.
There you go. You got to put it in some of your writing.
Next Star Trek fan fiction has to have a reference to this, Dom, somehow. You got to
an alien planet where there's radiosynthesis. That's how life.
There you go. Done. I love it.
That would be an interesting thought problem. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Tom's already doing the draft in his head. Don't worry.
Yes,
already
it's
there.
actually starting.
You're welcome.
I love it, Caroline. All right, we'll move on briefly. I know we're getting a bit close to overtime. We're very good at doing that with this podcast. So, Dom, we wanted to have a quick discussion, I guess, about TV and movies as well. You were talking about some. You wanted to throw a few things in there.
Yeah.
So, what would you like to mention? Go for it.
So, some of the stuff that I've been enjoying lately, stuff that I haven't been able to talk about on other podcasts, but like The Pit is an amazing show that people have been talking about, and I started watching with my wife Melanie, and we love it. And so it's a series about a hospital emergency room in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, and Noah Wiley is the head of the ER, and it follows, each episode is 1 hour in the shift. So it uses that sort of gimmick of the whole season. It's usually like 15 hours, so it's like a 15-hour day. And the first season, I forget, it revolved around there was a music festival and there was a bad event at the music festival. The second season was the 4th of July. But it's all the interpersonal aspects of it, but all the medicine, and it's super detailed in the science of the medical stuff that is very detailed. Almost sometimes too much, sometimes I turn my head to look. But it's such a great show. The interpersonal, the writing is so good, and the acting. I've really been enjoying that one.
Where's that streaming at the moment?
It's HBO. It's an HBO series. Wherever HBO happens to be now. It keeps changing. Okay.
Yeah, we mentioned what is it, Silo at the top of the show. Yep. That's a one that would be interesting to see where season 3 travels. Apple TV shows, I'll throw this one in. It's one I watched the first season of earlier this year. Interesting, strange. I'm actually not sure where I sit with it at the moment, but Pluribus. Did you see the first season of that?
I really liked Pluribus. It's
tell me about it. I'm like, it was good. I'm like, do I like this or not? I'm not sure where I sit right now. So make the case, Dom. Tell me what you think.
That's one of the things I like about it, is that the protagonist is kind of unlikable, and but you kind of sympathize as well, and. I love shows that kind of posit a question. What if, and something interesting. So what if the alien invasion wasn't like Independence Day, but it made us all cooperate in a weird sort of zombie way. And one person, basically, person isn't part of the group, and it's just, so the idea of pluribus, with the Latin for many, so e pluribus unum is out of many one, and that's kind of the idea. It becomes a hive mind, essentially, and there are ethical questions it raises, and moral questions, and even spiritual questions of what is autonomy, like what kind of autonomy do we have as individuals? It raises questions about community and individualism. In fact, it's a show we really should do on Secrets of Television. We should really talk about it there.
Oh, for sure. That'd be good. Yeah, there's a lot of fertile ground to talk about it.
Yeah. I think it's a very interesting show. It's by the same people who did Breaking Bad and Better Call Saul, which in themselves were very interesting, very well written shows. And this one is as well. I was fascinated by it. And I like the fact that when they were coming out with it, they weren't telling us very much about it, so that you could kind of experience it as it happened. Now folks are, know a little more, but
over it,
it was, I really enjoyed it. I'm really looking forward to whenever they come up with the next season.
Yeah, maybe I was just unsettled while I was watching, because it was the kindest invasion.
It's unsettling. Yeah,
and so they're so smart with the writing, in the sense that they're like, maybe it's not so bad. Maybe everyone's happy, right? There's no wars anymore. And look how pleasant everything is.
Exactly, and then it becomes things get raised, like how easy it would be to take advantage of all of these people who all they want to do is make you happy.
Yeah,
and what human impulse can do to that, and there's that one fellow. Did you see the whole season?
I've seen the first season. Yeah.
Okay, so the one fellow in South America who is violently opposed to it.
Goodness.
And you're like, I find myself at one point going, dude, you calm down, it's okay. And it's like, wait a minute, no, maybe he's right. Like,
wait, but he's kind of right. But hang on a second. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And so it's like, how do I feel about this? I like shows that make me think about it. I have to think about how I feel about it. It's some shows they want to give you a feeling, and sometimes that's fine. Like Ted Lasso made me happy. That's the show that makes you happy, and I like that. But this one made me think, and it made me, how do I feel about it? What do I think about it? And that's what I think Pluribus does that.
That's I'm glad you said that, because that's where I'm at. I'm just unsettled. Like, what do I actually think about the show? Like, I know that if there's a second season, I'm going to watch it.
Yeah.
it doesn't mean I'm comfortable with it. Like,
exactly.
It's interesting the way they've done that. Caroline, I'll get to you in a second. Dom, I wanted to throw one more in very quickly. Now that so I've started watching Fringe, right? So it's an old show. I saw the first season ages ago.
Yeah.
But in Australia, it was very limited how we could access it before streaming. So I kind of fell away from it. So now I'm back into it. I only have one question for you about this. What is going on in Boston? What is going on in Boston? It's like all these incidents all the time.
I loved that show, and it got better in the second season and following. It's very funny. In the first season, they really had no idea of the geography of Boston, and so like some of the scenes were set in the like two towns right next to mine, and they were like, oh, at the waterfront in Stoughton, and I'm like, Stoughton is 40 miles from the water. Like, there's no waterfront there. Yeah. They got better at it, but I do love the fact that it was set here. A lot of the action, and it's such a John Noble is so great.
Oh, he's brilliant. Yeah, he's brilliant.
Fantastic. I just love him in that. This is a really good show. I've been thinking of about future podcasts we could do, and that one's high on my list along with the X-Files of shows that I would love to do a podcast about.
Yeah, great. I'm near the end of the second season. I've been on and off with it. I've been watching shows in between, but when there's nothing happening, I'll just go back to Fringe. So I'm enjoying that, the sci-fi element of that. Yeah,
as you get toward the end, as you get to the end, Leonard Nimoy shows up.
Yes, that's right. Yeah, he's made a couple of appearances. So yeah. And this was at the time when sort of like J.J. Abrams and Star Trek, there was all this. So there's recurring things in some of his shows where, there you go. Caroline, what are you watching at the moment? What have you watched?
Well, speaking of Boston, they've just started premiering, showing Boston Blue here, which has Donnie Wahlberg in it. And I have to say that is why I watched it, because I used to be a huge New Kids on the Block fan, right? And I still am, I have to say, okay? And you judge me, do whatever. But, they were a great band. And, growing up in the 90s and, listening to them and even late 80s maybe. Anyway, that's interesting. I mean, it follows a typical crime scene investigation, formula, and it was good. I think it stands up to the rest of them. It was a bit of action, bit of drama, bit of the human elements and things in there. It's quite confronting, it's not something that I started watching with my son in the room, and I'm like, no, there's some things that they bring up that I can't, and even maybe I don't want to watch, things like that. But, it's all right. It's okay. I can give it a pass. It's good. But the other thing we watched with my children was the latest Minions movie, Minions and Monsters. We've been watching Despicable Me and the Minions spin-off since they came out all those years ago. So every time there's a new one out, that we watch them, and we just love them. They are the craziest, funniest thing. They're on, the kids levels, the adult levels, like just everyone can enjoy them, and they're just laugh out loud funny, like just so crazy, and the latest one I have to say was so crazy. It just was, my mind was just laughing. I was just laughing all over the place. There's so many different things that come in and out, and, it's just all these different scenarios, and, they end up like summoning a beast from the past so that it can star in its movie, because they wanted to make a movie, and their villain, they'll go, oh, the best way we can like get a villain is to like summon up like a demon thing from the past, and they end up in the movies, and they end up in Hollywood, and it's just crazy. It was just, I think we didn't stop laughing the whole time. It was really awesome. Great. Yeah. So definitely one to watch if you're into that.
Sounds like a Teen Titans Go plot or something. That kind of craziness.
It's just Minions. They're just nuts.
Dom, I've got one quick one that hasn't come out, that is supposed to come out now. A favorite that you introduced to me is Our Beloved Boss, right? Which sadly they just need to make seasons for the rest of our lives. Honestly, this show, right? That's how good it is.
Titus Welliver, you're now obligated to make this show for us.
Yeah, I demand it. I mean, if there's anything I'd expect a mind controlling alien to do was to continue the production of Bosch, that would be ethically, I'm okay with that. But there's a series, I don't know if you heard this, but there's a series that looks at his past with a younger actor, like a spin-off now. It hasn't started. It's in production only because Michael Connolly, I've followed him on Facebook now just to see updates about shows, in that genre, in that universe. So apparently there's going to be like a young Bosch series at some stage that's coming up. Yeah. So, and I think they're going to explore some of the earlier stories that haven't been explored from the novels, in the current series. Right. I guess I'm okay with that because it's Bosch. I'm just wondering, I'm hoping it will be as good as the series, though. There was something that particular series just grabs me. So I hope they can grab me with this one too.
Yeah. If the writing is good, it might grab me. I mean, part of what I liked about Bosch was Titus Welliver. I mean, he's such a good actor.
He just, carries it.
Yeah. But the writing was good. So I think it could be good if they get the right actor to play the young Harry. It'll be interesting to see, when they do these prequels, they have to do it, it's 30 years ago. So, what are the it's going to all be the early 90s and that sort of stuff. So I'll be curious to see how they pull that off, whether it feels right.
The one thing that's going to bother me is that he's not actually in any peril anymore because we know he has a future. So they're going to have to focus on, I don't know, the mystery or give that more. I'm not too sure. Yeah.
I'm kind of, I don't know. I feel like prequels have been so overdone. Like Star Trek did all these prequels, and you're like, oh, look, it's Jim Kirk in Strange New Worlds. I guess he's okay.
Yes. It's all right.
Nothing's going to happen to him. We know Spock, he's Uhura and Scotty, like all these people survive. So, I suppose you say, well, it's a series television show. They're not going to kill off their characters. But nevertheless, there is another Bosch spinoff that they're coming with as well, featuring the female detective from the last season they did. The one that paired up with him at the end.
The first season of that. No, am I confusing things? Yeah, she was it. No, I'm confusing myself. Hang on a minute.
She was leading a like a cold case unit or something.
Yeah, there was one season of that already, wasn't there?
Oh yeah, they did do that. Yes, yeah, that's right.
That's right. What was it called again?
Oh, gosh.
I can't remember.
It didn't make that much.
No, it was called Not Bosch, but it should be. That's what it's called.
Not Bosch.
Yeah.
The Bosch Cinematic Universe.
That's right.
Ballard.
Yeah.
Ballard.
That's the one. Yeah. Yes, and thankfully they flavored it with some appearances, by Bosch, which is good. And I think there should be more, which would be great. Yeah, keep them connected. Yeah, great. We've got to do this again, Dom. We've got to get you back and talk about more of these fascinating topics.
Always happy.
If we keep you now, it's going to be a 3-hour podcast. I'm not sure if that will go down well. So, we'd like to thank you all for listening to episode 158 of the Catholics of Oz. And before we go, as always, we'd love to take a moment to thank our patrons who make it possible for us to create the Catholics of Oz. And today we would love to thank Anita H., Stephen R., Father Mike S., Rick S., and Alex C. Through their generous donations at givestarquest.com, they make it possible for the Catholics of Oz and all of the other great shows on StarQuest to continue, and the new shows that you've heard about today. So if you'd like to join them and contribute, you can go to givestarquest.com. Please continue to keep this show and this network in your prayers because it is just as important for the mission that this network is on. We'd love to know your thoughts about the topics we've discussed today. So you can give us feedback by visiting sqpn.com/Oz, spelled OZ, and you can find our show notes there as well. While you're on the website, don't forget to sign up for the newsletter if you haven't yet, sqpn.com/about/newsletter to find out what's happening with your favorite shows. And don't forget that StarQuest is on just about every social that's out there. So search for StarQuest or SQPN, follow and enjoy the conversation. I talked about Discord before, sqpn.com/Discord. Great conversations happen there all the time. As Dom mentioned, a community that is friendly, that is just has lots of common interests, lots of topics to talk about. You'll always be safe, happy, welcome, and have a lot of fun there. There's always lots of fun conversations. So please sign up. And if you would like to reach us by good old email, catholicsofOz@sqpn.com. And we'd love to hear from you as we hear from people from time to time, which is wonderful. So, Caroline, thank you so much for being part of the show today.
Thank you. It was fun having you on with us too, Dom. It was really a special treat for us.
Yeah, and second that. It was just wonderful to have you again as a guest, and you are always welcome in this show to discuss anything. We'll always be happy to have you back.
Thank you. It's always great to be here.
And I'm Lindsay Sant, and thank you so much for listening to episode 158 of The Catholics of Oz on StarQuest.
Here's another show on the StarQuest network you're sure to enjoy. The Secrets of Stargate. Find it wherever fine podcasts are found or at sqpn.com/Stargate.